NCC News political correspondent Gabrielle Amato is here and has the latest on Senator Sanders in Syracuse.
Actors Rosario Dawson and Kendrick Sampson are feeling the burn and show their support for Senator Sanders today in Syracuse.
And the Destiny USA Hotel project has been approved. $6 million in tax exemption. All that next on NCC News at 4:45.
Hello and welcome to NCC News at 4:45. I'm Arleti Gonzalez.
And I'm Jasper Apollonia.
Our political correspondent Gabrielle Amato is live in studio to tell us more about the Bernie Sanders campaign in Syracuse and what it could mean for the New York primary election. Gabby, can you tell us about how many people were in attendance today at Bernie Sanders' campaign?
Sure, it was a very exciting day. The campaign officials have not confirmed the number, but we're guessing it's around 5,000. So it was a completely full on-center in downtown Syracuse today. A very exciting event.
And what were some of the major issues discussed by Senator Sanders?
So he discussed, super PACs, law enforcement issues, investing in the youth and the middle class, job issues, free college education, and environmental issues, all fundamental Bernie Sanders issues and all things that the supporters expected to hear.
And what do you think were some of the highlights today at the Bernie Sanders?
Well, there was a lot of highlights, a lot of emotion. These people come out because they believe that Bernie represents who they are and what they believe in. They think that he's the only candidate who fights for the middle class and fights for their stance on everything. And, ironically so, the highlight of the night was when he mentioned Donald Trump. I do believe that we have the clip here to show you guys. It's a very, very emotional clip. If we can cue that.
Donald Trump will... Donald Trump will not become president!
Call me crazy. I think I'm just getting a hint of emotion in there from the crowd.
The cheers went on for 5 minutes after that. It was followed by Bernie, Bernie chants. So, these people, they were really coming out. They wanted to show their emotion, and they did it. They succeeded.
And what could this rally and others like it that are happening here in upstate New York, specifically in Syracuse, what could they mean for the primary next Tuesday?
So now I do have the stats here. Hillary Clinton is leading Bernie in the delegate count, 1,304 to 1,075. 247 delegates are up at the New York primary next week, meaning that if Bernie Sanders does take this win, he will be leading Hillary in the delegate count. So there's a lot at stake, which is why he's been, campaigning just so heavily here. He is on his way to Poughkeepsie as we speak, and the campaign trail will continue.
Thank you so much,
No
Gabriella.
problem. Thank you, guys.
Well, Hollywood stars made their way to join the Bernie Sanders campaign in Syracuse this afternoon. Kendrick Sampson and Rosario Dawson appear with the Democratic presidential candidate as special guests. Sampson is well known for his role in the TV series The Vampire Diaries and the ABC show How to Get Away with Murder. Dawson is famous for her role in more than 15 films, including Kids, where she made her debut. Both Sampson and Dawson are among a group of celebrities who made a video declaring their support for Sanders.
The line stretched around the block for hours this morning at the On Center ahead of Bernie Sanders' rally. Fans were chanting their support for the presidential candidate and were decked out in pins and shirts. Sanders supporters told NCC News about which policies mean the most to them.
Be a great rally, and we want to come hear what he has to say.
I like his stance on LGBT rights. His economic policies in general are very interesting, very refreshing.
The income inequality.
And college tuition.
Interest rates are just destroying us out there. He's the only one talking about really lowering interest rates on people because there's only certain things you can do for us because we're already out of school.
More presidential candidates are making their way to Syracuse ahead of the state's primary next week. While Republican frontrunner Donald Trump is holding a rally in Rome today, he is scheduled to appear in Syracuse on Saturday. Ted Cruz also announced he will host a campaign rally in town this Friday. This comes a few weeks after both Hillary Clinton and John Kasich rallied in Syracuse. A time and location for Trump and Cruz campaign is yet to be announced.
Tax breaks were approved today for the proposed Destiny USA Hotel. The Onondaga County Industrial Development Agency approved a 12-year tax agreement. That includes $5 million in property tax exemptions and $1 million in sales tax exemptions. The company says the project will create jobs and increase tourism in the area. Destiny USA executive David Atkin calls Syracuse a tourist destination.
We had 142 tour groups here last year who hadn't been here before. And just the number of people, we have all 50 states covered, dozens of foreign countries, because we're out there selling Syracuse as a destination.
NFL star Will Smith, who was fatally shot late Saturday, was expected to return to his hometown of Utica this week. Smith was due for an annual dinner as part of his foundation call, Where There's a Will, There's a Way, which helps improve the lives of high schoolers in Utica and in New Orleans. For the past 7 years, Smith returned to Utica to host an All-Stars banquet that honors the Omaha Valley football team. On Friday, he was also scheduled to drop the ceremonial first puck at the Utica Comets game.
A new report released by the U.S. Department of Education outlines the colleges and universities that produce the highest earners. The report shows how much money graduates make in median annual salaries 10 years after enrolling. The top-ranking New York State school and number 2 nationally is United States Merchant Academy at $89,000. Syracuse University ranks 13th statewide, that is, and 103rd nationally, with a median earning of $56,600.
Vice President Joe Biden will deliver the commencement address to the Syracuse University College of Law class of 2016. Biden graduated from the SU College of Law in 1968. The commencement will be held Friday, May 13th at 1 p.m. in the Carrier Dome. Several areas in Syracuse are facing power outage today. Large parts of the Syracuse University campus are presently without powers, as are several traffic lights and homes in the neighborhoods near the university. National Grid is currently assessing the situation.
Dangerous news regarding the Zika virus in the United States.
And the campaign trail heats up in New York. We'll have that and more after the break.
With 1 week left until the New York primary, upstate New York has become a crucial part of the battleground for candidates on both sides. Bernie Sanders, who was in Syracuse today, trails Hillary Clinton by 12 to 16 percentage points in recent statewide polls, despite being nearly neck and neck with her in upstate New York polls. In order to have a shot at beating Clinton in the primary, he'll need to grab a significant number of the 291 available New York delegates, which are awarded proportionally. Donald Trump, who will be in Syracuse on Saturday, is currently polling at 55% in the state, far ahead of Ted Cruz and Don Kasich, who are both polling around 20%. Trump and Sanders are both New York natives, and Clinton is a former New York senator.
Speaker of the House Paul Ryan will not be running for president. The Wisconsin congressman announced that he would not enter the election this year, saying that he wishes to unite the Republican Party and that his entry would only serve to divide the party further. His speech at the Republican National Committee headquarters comes after speculations that Ryan will be picked to run in the event of a deadlocked Republican convention.
Top U.S. health officials believe that the Zika virus may be more widespread and present a greater danger to Americans than previously believed. Officials are saying the mosquitoes that spread the disease can be found in nearly 30 states. While the White House will redirect emergency funds previously provided to fight Ebola to combat Zika, many researchers say they require more funding. They say that while they hope the virus will not be widespread in the U.S., they need to prepare for the worst.
Everything we look at with this virus seems to be a bit scarier than we initially thought. And so while we absolutely hope we don't see widespread local transmission in the continental U.S., we need the states to be ready for that.
And 2 men have been charged with offenses related to the Brussels bombings, and 3 others have been detained in connection to the Paris attacks in November. The 2 men were renting an apartment that served as a hideout for the Brussels bomber, as well as a suspected accomplice. Authorities have not found any weapon or explosives in the apartment, but are continuing their search. A judge will decide on Wednesday whether the 3 detained people should remain in custody. There are currently 6 people under arrest in Belgium for involvement in the Brussels attack, and at least 8 under arrest for the involvement in the Paris attack. ISIS has claimed responsibility for the attacks, and all 14 people under arrest are believed to be a part of the same Belgian cell. Fallout from the Panama Papers continues as Peruvian authorities raided the home of a Mossack Fonseca representative on Monday, seizing documents they say relate to possible tax evasion. Last week, El Salvadorian authorities did the same thing to a local Mossack Fonseca office, taking computer equipment along with them. The papers have already had an effect as Island Prime Minister stepped down last week, and now English PM David Cameron is under intense scrutiny as his late father used the firm in order to avoid taxes on his investment fund. Cameron has admitted to profiting from the fund, but denies that he tried to avoid taxes.
Up next on NCC News, will it rain? Will it snow? Four SU students are now facing multiple drug charges after a bust last Wednesday. SU junior Denzel Deremy and his roommates, SU seniors Carlos Seminario, Aubrey Longfield, and Christopher Mancino were arrested after police executed a search warrant at their apartment. Police searched the apartment after a package with 1.16 pounds of marijuana was intercepted by postal workers. Police found 900 Xanax pills, over 12 ounces of marijuana, and a small bag of crystal MDMA under Deremy's bed, and more throughout the apartment.
NCC News reporter Sarah Knickerbocker is outside of the Onondaga County Courthouse with the latest details on Ryan Lawrence's fate. Sarah?
Thanks, Brett. And I'm live at the county courthouse where right now a grand jury is hearing the case of Ryan Lawrence. They have to decide whether or not to indict him on the charges. What happens here is that the prosecutor brings forth evidence, whether it's testimony, documents, or even witnesses, to show that there is a reason why Ryan Lawrence has been charged in the murder of baby Maddox and that he should be formally brought up on those charges or indicted.
County Executive Joni Mahoney will deliver the annual State of the County address tonight at the CNY Hub for Emerging Industries in East Syracuse. Mahoney is expected to discuss veteran services, the fiscal health of the county, as well as give a status update on various development projects across central New York. The address begins at 5:30 and is free to the public.
Our top story today, NCC News reporter Josh Bazan is reporting live in Concord, New Hampshire, and has the latest on the primary buzz. Josh?
Thank you, Jasper. That's right. Today is the day. The first in the nation primary in New Hampshire is finally here. It's the second test of the 2016 presidential race. Candidates have been in the Granite State for the entire week, campaigning across the state, trying to win those undecided voters. And the latest CNN WMER poll came out yesterday. On the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders is sitting comfortably with a 26-point lead over Hillary Clinton, but the Republican side is where it's really interesting. Donald Trump has 31% of likely New Hampshire voters, and then Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, John Kasich, and Jeb Bush all coming in close, vying for that second place finish. It's important to note that no polling was done because of Super Bowl Sunday, so really anything can happen here in New Hampshire. And also important to note, 1 in 5 voters, it was said earlier today, came into the polls undecided, making that decision as they placed their vote in the ballot box. One person relying heavily on a strong New Hampshire performance is Ohio Governor John Kasich. He comes in second in some polls, but I caught up with 2 voters deciding between Kasich and other candidates at a polling site earlier today.
I like Kasich, the Republican. He makes a lot of good sense, but I had to make a choice, so it was Sanders.
I was very impressed with his manner, his approach to decision making, his experience that he brings to the table.
Now, Josh, I know you've been with the Rubio campaign for a couple days. What are some thoughts from the Rubio campaign on his unfortunate debate performance, shall we say?
Well, the Rubio campaign doesn't think it's unfortunate at all. They're happy that their candidate is sticking to his message. As you remember, he was caught repeating the same line word for word about President Barack Obama, and his campaign's very happy. The next day, Sunday morning, he came out and he said to a group of people in Londonderry, New Hampshire, "I'm happy with what I said. It's important to mention, he told the voters that Barack Obama is doing these things on purpose." So his campaign's happy with the performance. And talking to voters in Londonderry after the event, they didn't seem to care about the gaffe. They were more excited about his what they called substantial answers later on in the debate. So in New Hampshire, a lot of the voters think he actually won.
Now, sticking with Rubio, what's his campaign hoping for today and moving forward? What are their expectations?
The campaign really needs Rubio to finish second. They want a strong second so that he can push the other candidates out of the race and make it a three-way race between Trump, Rubio, and Cruz. That's what they're hoping for here in New Hampshire.
All right. Thank you very much, Josh.